Hey students, back to do the second part. I actually did the first problem and then I tried to pause and I actually hit stop. So I'm going to go through that problem again, but I'm here for the Unit 2 Study Guide Simplifying Expressions Part 2. I'm working on this standard that we were doing on the first video, factoring, using distributive property, making equivalent expressions with algebra. So I completed this one at the top. You have, within a floor plan, a general contractor proposes additional storage space for each classroom that's smaller than the classroom space. The dimensions are shown below. What is the area of each space? So remember, you have the length and the width. So the length is represented by 2x plus 5 because you got to add each piece to get your length. And your width is represented by 7. So the area as a product, you just take the number on the outside and you write the length times the width because the area is equal to the length times the width, or base times height. So then writing it as a sum, they want you to go ahead and distribute. So 7 times 2x is 14x. 7 times 5 is 35. Okay. The next question is rewrite the factor expression as an expanded expression. That just means distribute. So we distribute 3x times 5 is 15x. 3x times 9 is 27x. Because they're both x's, we can combine them. So 15x plus 27x is 42x. A family of 4 just finished up a day at the zoo. Tickets to enter were $20 each. Lunch was $13 each, and each family member spent $17 on a souvenir. What is the factored form of an expression representing the total amount of money that they spent at the zoo? So think about this. You have 4 people at the zoo. Everybody has to pay $20. Everybody's going to have a $13 lunch, and everybody's going to have $17. So basically, each of those numbers, we're going to multiply it by 4 because we need 4 people for 4 tickets. 4 people spent $13 at lunch, and 4 people spent $17 as a souvenir. So choice A would be correct. Now, as you can see, you don't have to solve it. So you're just looking for what expression would work. So 4 times the 20, and then 4 times the 13, and then 4 times the 17 if you were going to solve it. What is the sum of x minus 3 and 2x plus 7? So we're just combining like terms, and we're going to add the 2x plus 7. Pay attention to your signs. This x is a positive, this is negative 3, this is positive 2x, and this is positive 7. Y'all have to get out of the thinking of it being subtraction. So I'm going to circle my constants here. I have negative 3 and positive 7. When the signs are the different, I'm going to subtract. So 7 minus 3 is positive 4. We have, excuse me, x's. This is 1x, so we have our x's, and we have positive 2x. So we have 1x, and positive 2x makes positive 3x. This is your final answer when you're adding them together. Remember, only combine like terms. Write an equivalent expression for 12x plus 3 minus negative 7x plus 5. Okay, so next question. Write an equivalent expression for 12x plus 3 minus negative 7x plus 5. This is going to be one of those tricky questions. Y'all don't know what to do with that negative here. Pretend that that's a negative 1. And you actually have to distribute that negative. What does that mean? That means you have to take that negative and multiply it by everything on the inside. So all the signs on the inside of this expression are going to change. So I'm going to keep the 12x, I'm going to keep my positive 3, but now I need to distribute that negative. A negative times a negative is a positive 7x. A negative times a positive 5 makes negative 5. So make sure you start this question, you're distributing the negative there. When you have that negative and those parentheses, you need to distribute the negative. So now I can combine like terms. I have 12x, positive 7x, positive and positive, so that makes 19x. I have my constants. I have positive 3 and negative 5. These signs are different, so when the signs are different, I subtract. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Final answer, 19x minus 2. Simplify the expression. Again, that means combine like terms. Notice all the different ways to say the same thing. So we have positive 12x, positive 4x, and here I have a negative x. So 12x and 4x make 16x, but then this is a minus 1x. So 16x minus 1x is 15x. So my x's are 15x. I have my y's. I have negative 25 and positive 15. So negative 25y plus 15y. What would that be? You'd be left with negative 10y. The signs are different. You're adding. What are your rules for adding? I'm going to subtract them, and I have more negatives. So 15. So there's my minus 10y. Final answer, you can't solve anything. You don't know what x is. You don't know what y is. Describe the steps for simplifying this expression. You must simplify the expression to justify your answer. Describe the steps. What are the steps? Combine like terms. That's basically the only step you really need to do. So, negative 5x, positive 8x. One's negative, one's positive, so I'm going to subtract. Negative 5 plus 8 is positive 3x. Okay, then I have constants. I have positive 2 and negative 6. Again, the signs are different. 2 minus 6 is negative 4. 3x minus 4. Describe the steps and simplify. So combine like terms. Circle the terms. You could say circle the terms that are the same. Combine those terms, however you want to say it. Okay, more simplifying. So I'm going to find those x's. We have negative 8x. I have positive 4x. Negative 8 and positive 4, the signs are different, so I'm going to subtract. I'm going to have more negatives. Negative 4x. Negative 8 and positive 4 makes negative 4. I have my constants, positive 12, negative 5. 12 minus 5 makes positive 8. I lied, 7. 12 minus 5 is 7. And why is it positive? Because I have more positives. And then, I need another color, 4x squared. 4x squared is all by himself. Last year, you know, we did circles, triangles, and squares. You don't have to have colors. But he's all by himself. Why? Because he's squared. You can't put squared with x's, remember? So he's just going to come along, 4x squared. Okay? So negative 4x plus 7 plus 4x squared. Okay? Simplify. Find those like terms. Positive 5h, positive 7h. 7 plus 5 is 12h. We have negative 6j and negative 8j. They're both negative, so I'm going to combine them. That's going to give me negative 14j. 8 plus 6 is 14. Final answer. 21, simplify. So you have your 18x. Notice you have parentheses over here. So these parentheses mean that you need to distribute. So this negative 4 needs to be distributed what's in parentheses. That 18x is just going to come along. He's not getting distributed. Only what's in the parentheses gets distributed. So negative 4 times positive 2. A negative times a positive is a negative. 4 times 2x makes 8x. A negative times a positive is a negative. 4 times 3 is, that should be a negative. Negative 12y. 4 times 3 is 12. So that's a negative 12y. Now, can we combine like terms? Yes, we can. We have 18x and minus 18x. The y is going to stay by himself, negative 12y. He doesn't have anyone to combine with. So 18x minus 8x gives me 10x, 18 minus 8. And then I'm just going to carry along that negative 12y for my final answer. 22, we need to simplify by distribution. So that negative 3 again is going to be multiplied. What's the difference between 21 and 22? 21, we want to make sure you know that that number could be at the end. Make sure you distribute. 22, we put the number in the front. And also on 22, making sure you realize that's a negative. Don't forget, a negative times a positive is negative 24. A negative times negative m is a positive 3m. 3 times m is 3m. A negative times a negative is a positive. Well, I thought that was a subtraction sign. Subtraction's gone. Remember, everything is negative or positive. and then I'm just going to bring down that 2m. Now I can combine like terms. Positive 3m, positive 2m, that makes 5m, and that's a positive, and then I'm just going to bring my negative 24. I could rewrite this problem. I could say 5m minus 24. That's probably looks more accurate, but either one would be correct. All right, moving on to the next is being able to use those algebra expressions in word problems. So being able to construct it in a real world situation. Andrew collects comic books. The number of books in his collection at m months since he started is 40 plus 7m. How many comic books will Andrew have when m equals 24? So you're just substituting. So if m equals 24, what is 40 plus 7 times 24? So 7 times 24 is 168. So we have 40 plus 168. And, oops, 7 times 24, let me double check, 168 plus 40. So final answer, 208 comic books. So you're just substituting. All right, continue. We call this evaluating. So now that we know how to combine like terms, now we're going to just plug in the numbers and evaluate. So D equals 5. So I'm going to plug in 5 minus parentheses negative 4 all over 9 plus 4 times negative 8. Again, a letter and a number next to each other means multiplication. So on the top of this, it's going to become 5 plus 4 divided by 9. And a positive times a negative makes this negative 32. I'm going to do my division first. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 divided by 9 minus 32. Well, 9 divided by 9 is 1. 1 minus 32 is negative 31. 25. 6r minus g plus 4. R is negative 8. So that means 6 times negative 8 minus the minus from there, but also notice g is negative. So you have your minus from the problem and you have the negative 4 for g, and then plus 4. So 6 times negative 8, a positive times a negative is negative 48. A negative times a negative becomes positive 4, and then plus 4. I'm going to do 4 plus 4, which makes 8. So then I'm going to have negative 48 plus 8. The signs are different, so I'm going to subtract. I have more negatives, 48. Subtract those two, and you end up with negative 40. 26. B minus n minus 8. B is negative 3, so I plug in negative 3. N is 5, so we need the minus from the problem, and then n is 5. And then minus 8, minus 8. If you notice, everything in this problem is negative. When everything is negative, what do? We add them together. So how many negatives do I have? 8 plus 5 is 13, plus 3 makes negative 16. 27, plug in the 2. 2 minus 6 over 9. So 2 minus 6, that's a negative. Positive 2 and negative 6 makes negative 4. Negative 4 over 9. So that's your final answer, negative 4/9. You can't simplify it anymore. Allie has a savings account that contains $230. She decides to deposit $5 each month for her monthly earnings from babysitting after school. If the expression 5x plus $230 can be determined the amount of money that Allie will have in her savings account after X months, how much will she have in her account after a year? Well, since our problem is talking about months, a year is 12 months, right? So basically, again, you're just substituting. Take that, 230. Take that original equation, and you're going to substitute in your 12 months for x, because x equals months. So x is 12. So substitute 5 times 12 plus 230. 5 times 12 is 60. 60 plus 230 makes $290 she will have in her bank account. The 7th grade math classes are going on a field trip. The field trip will cost $7.50 per student for admission, plus $1.50 for virtual reality glasses rental, plus $250 for the bus. So here's the expression they came up with, and it says for S is the number of students, what is the total cost for 26 students? So what we have to do is say that S equals 26 and plug it in. 7.50 times 26 plus $1.50 times 26 plus the $250 for the bus. So $7.50 times 26 is $195 plus $1.50 times 26 is $39 plus the $250. So $195 plus $39 plus $250. $484 for the field trip. Field trip cost. The expression W over 6 gives the weight of an object to the moon in pounds with a weight of W pounds on Earth. What is the weight of a spacesuit on the moon if the spacesuit weighs 178.2 pounds on Earth? So W is 178.2. So we're plugging that in. 178.2 divided by 6. 178.2 divided by 6, 29.7. 29.7, it says what is the weight of the space suit, and we're talking about pounds. LBS is the abbreviation for pounds. 29.7 pounds. Last question. After getting a score of 400 points in their new game yesterday, a gamer has been scoring 5 points per second today. What algebraic expression models number of points this gamer will have scored in total over the 2 days in terms of representing the time t in seconds? So he already had 400 points, and then he's earning 5 for every second. If t is the seconds, we're going to take 5 and multiply it by t. So it looks like choice A would be correct. 400 is what he started with, and then 5 for every time he plays, 5 for every second he plays. We don't know how many seconds he played, but t will be represented the seconds. Depending on how many seconds he played, we could figure it out. And in 2 days, you could figure out how many seconds are in 2 days, but I don't know that he played for every second in the day, right? Anyways, I hope this helped, and please make sure you watch video 1 and video 2, and your test is on Tuesday and Wednesday next week, conference week. We're going to do it's actually all week next week. You're going to do part A on Tuesday, part B on Thursday. If you're a Wednesday person, you're going to do part A on Wednesday, and you're going to do part B on Friday. Friday's schedule next week is going to be Monday's schedule, so a block. So we'll have 4 block days next week. Good luck. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.